Hi, my name is Kevin McDonald, and I'm declaring my independence. Independence from what? Why, negative thoughts and energy, of course. Chief among them, hate, division, and fear. You see, I know that we're all one, and together we can solve any problem, save our planet and each other. Please, join me as we come together as one and choose a better way to be. So now, let's begin with my independence report. And welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Kevin McDonald. Yes, it is the the last Sunday of the month, which is April 26, 2020. And that means that this Sunday, it's Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald. That, by the way, is me. And we're going to be here for the next 3 hours. We focus on the human animal and the needs and wants of what we are all going through right now. And we've set this show up very specially because we've got a wonderful guest for the entire 3 hours. But you know who the real guest is? It's you. We want to talk to you about what's going on in our world, about what's going on in your personal life, and how hanging around your house. I hope you like your house because you're hanging around it an awful lot, and it's a nice place to be, I'm sure. But like in my case, it's like going from the to the TV, to the computer, to the bedroom, to the bathroom, to the kitchen, and it's kind of like a little track I've got going here, and because we're all just kind of stuck here. And what I've done is I've invited a gal by the name of Natasha Venter. She's been on Martha's show before. She's an angelic clarification person. She's a psychic medium, personal awareness coach, and she can help us through some of these things. But before we go there, and I'm going to get your name right, I promise, Nathan. Oh, I almost screwed it up. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing excellent. And yourself, Kevin? I heard you're still in a bit of a recovering process from the surgery you had, still in an arm sling. Is that correct?
Yeah, all the way to June 30th, I get to be hanging around in a little sling. So it doesn't matter to me. I can't go anywhere anyway. But what we can do today, because we're doing remote locations, I'm down in South King County, and Nastasha's up in North King County, and you're right smack in the middle. How's the weather up in your neck of the woods?
Mine, it is kind of sunny, cloudy, that kind of breath in, breath out, which is basically what, the numbers that we did today, the 4 for April, the 8, 24 equals, or the, and then another 4 for the 22. It was like, oh, I guess we're doing the breath in, breath out of being.
Perfect. And Nathan, how is the weather down there at the beautiful KKNW studios?
Well, it's starting off with a good morning. It's starting to cloud up a little bit more. We're going to have increasing clouds throughout the day, but, pretty pleasant temperature. It's going to hit a high around 63, but probably close out the day with some rain re-entering into the forecast.
Awesome. By the way, everybody, this is Martha Norwalk's Animal World. And if you would like to stream us live, you can do that by going to Martha Norwalk's Animal World and click the Listen Live button. And that goes anywhere in the world. So this is going to be a very impactful, very powerful show. So I'm really hopeful that if you know somebody who's not in the listening area, but would like to listen to what we're going to talk about today, which is about all of us and what's going on in our world, you can do that. So they just go to marthanorwalk.com and click the Listen Live button. And if you also want to follow her on Facebook, you can do that. And if you give her a like, she would like you back, and it would be very nice. And if you want to email us at the studio, you can even do that. It's marthalight@aol.com. So if you want to do any of that, you can. So, but first I want to introduce our guest for the next 3 hours. And Natasha Venter, how are you, my dear?
I am doing really good. This is such a blessing to be here again. And Kevin and I have spent some time together doing his podcast, and that was even more of a gift. And this is just going to be adding on, and I'm so excited.
Speaking of the podcast, I want to mention one thing. There was a gentleman that came on to the podcast, and in the way the podcast works, I can see them, but he didn't want to get on and talk to Natasha personally, but what he did do was he was sitting there, and I could see that he was listening. And so I had her read him, and he was astounded. So they did not communicate in any way, shape, or form. But you did a very accurate reading of him, what was going on with him, and things that he could improve. I was really thoroughly impressed with you, young lady.
Well, thank you. Sometimes in the vulnerability that I sit in, and because I know that I am not going to be right. Because there's so many truths out there. Yet at the same time, the perception and the way that I hear and the way I listen to my guides and guidances, and then when I listen to the person who I'm reading for and their guides and guidances, I try to do the better that I can in the moment that we are in. And it's such a gift when I can go, yes, I did it, because I love to step out of this without ego. It's not about me. This journey isn't about me. It's about the person I'm helping. And so that is my wish, is to be there for the person, with the person. And yet at the same time, there's always that tap, tap, tap. You need to listen to this too, my dear, type of thing. But yet then that's my own personal journey. So I'm just grateful to be able to be wherever that moment is.
Now, when you're talking when you're talking to the other side, I should say, you're talking to your spirit guides, you're talking to other spirit guides, other angels and things. And how did you come up with this gift? Has it been a lifelong thing, or is it developed later in life? How did it happen for you?
I have a knowing that the minute that I was supposed to walk into this world, my spirit, I am one that I remember being born. So with that some people might have heard this story already, but I remember sitting in the corner of the hospital room, seeing my mom on the table and the doctor and a nurse. And I think there was another one in the corner and then all of a sudden I was popped out and looking at the doctor's face. So with that there's been this moment since the day I was born, my soul and I knew that there was this journey that we were going to be on. Now I had to work through the humanness of that. But yet at the same time, like my cousins always said, with my family, that we come from an intuitive family. My dad was very intuitive. And so with that there's these gifts that came, but yet everybody kind of knew that even though I was shy and quiet and didn't speak, there was something when I said it. And so they would stop and listen. And it was kind of interesting growing up, being very intuitive about who was around me, picking up all the energies. Like there was a lot of spirits in my house. My house was a portal. So all I heard when I got up to go to the bathroom was, and then you see an old lady in an old dress walk across the kitchen, and it was like, yeah, I didn't really like going to the bathroom at night, but yet I was willing to walk through that. And sometimes you have to.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine what that's like.
It is. And then when you deal with the people around you, all those emotions, it was interesting to figure out. I think that's one reason why the universe made me an only child, was that I was able to decipher a little bit more who I was.
Well, speaking of which, I now know that somebody would like you. They're saying, all right, you wanted to talk to us now. Give us the darn numbers, would you please? So I'm going to do that right now. If you'd like to talk to Natasha, you can do that by calling 425-373-5527 or toll free 888-298-KKNW or 5569. And you can talk to her about anything that suits you, that you would like to get guidance about, what's happening in your life, how you're feeling sitting in your home all day. If you're lonesome, give us a call and we'll talk to you, because we're, sitting in our houses all day too. So give us a call. And again, those numbers are 425-373-5527 or 888-298-5569. So give us a call. Nathan will take your call and we'll set it up, and then you can talk to Natasha about whatever it is that you'd like to touch bases with her on. Natasha, now I did want to ask you about what happens when you talk to somebody and they say, okay, so What's the future like for me? What's going to happen next? Am I going to go on a trip? Am I going to do this? What's the answer when somebody asks you those types of things?
I am one who, how do I put this? I'm asking them to find the words for me, that I am not necessarily a yes and no intuitive. I am one that I love to help someone work through what they're going to do next. Yes, I could say I'm seeing maybe a new job coming up and all of that. And I enjoy doing that. Right now, and I wanted to go back to the numbers because I have an understanding that this weekend, I don't know how many people were kind of out of it yesterday, that we were really kind of tired. It was hard to wake up. It was just one of those really wonky days. Sometimes you had energy when you were around people, but then if you got to yourself, you kind of had a down feeling. There was an agitation maybe around you, but yet you didn't want to get up and even do the dishes. It was kind of like one of those weird days. Did you have that kind of day, Kevin?
I did have that kind of day now that you mention it. I even went to bed earlier than I have in months.
Yes. And so yesterday I was getting that we were getting some new downloads and new guides coming in. And when I say new guides are, they could be ascendant masters, they could be angels, they can be some friends that have been with us since through many past lives. There are many different things that are coming up that are doing that. And I feel like today, I'm going to go back to the numbers. So April is a 4, and then it's the 26th today, right? So then 2 plus 6 equals 8. And then you go 2020, which is another 4. So in numbers. So the 4 number represents about being. It's about home. It's about coming to the greater good of thy. And then you go with the 8, which is the infinity sign. It's a never-ending sign. So today would be a great day for us as a human being, if we can, to check in and just be quiet and navigate through some of the newness that is coming into our lives. And so to go back to your question, right now with the porthole, the moment that we're having, we're getting ready as a world to go back into a new /normal. The image I get is like the butterfly just getting ready to get out of its cocoon. So it's starting to eat at the cocoon. It's starting to move a little bit. It's starting to get a little bit, its wings are trying to stretch, but it still can't. And so with the new coming in, our new guides, the new openings that we're going to be going through, this day is a great day for setting in and going forward. Now, if you're asking me what is open next for me, I'm going to say honestly that right now it's whatever you so choose to believe you can do. We are right now in this midst of what is our butterfly going to look like? Is it going to be muted as a moth would be? Or is it going to be as beautiful as a monarch that is from the South Americans? It's up to us right now what we're going to make of this new normal we're walking into. And so that's what I would hope to help you with is what is the image that I can help you with to get you to your next destination in this human form.
And I'm going to talk to you a lot about that because I think that a lot of us need to figure out how to do that. And I'm hoping that you can give us some steps to do that. But first, we have got a caller, and Marilyn from Seattle would like to talk to you about, she's got some pain.
Yes. The body is a great messenger for what we need to work on.
Marilyn, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. I've had pretty intense pain from my back down a leg for about 2 years. Mm-hmm. And I've tried many different modalities and different positions, and nothing seems to help.
Okay. May I have your permission, please, to check in with you?
Yes.
And that is the one thing I want to say to whoever's listening is that I am one that I am not morally values, whatever you want to call them, wanting to check in with anybody until you give me permission. So thank you for that permission.
I love that about you.
So Marilyn, with this, that have you Okay. Now, if you don't understand something, please let me know. And this is on the radio, so if you would like a little bit more with this, please, we could talk personally. But what I'm feeling like is that if you're talking spiritually, now there's a physicality to this, but I'm going to go with the spiritual realm. Because your body is telling me that you have not really worked on being grounded in this lifetime. Do you understand that message? Mm-hmm. Okay, so with that, what leg is it? I'm getting that it's more like your left side than your right side, right?
Well, it's actually both sides, but it's the pain manifests on the right.
Okay, so the right is about releasing. So left is about coming in. Oh, that's why I got your left, because you're able to receive, you're able to help, you're able to connect, you're able to do what you need to do on your left side as you're coming in, but then you're having a hard time releasing what you need to release. And Mother Earth is talking to me right now, and she's saying, my dear, would you try, sweetie, I would like you to really work on seeing my energy come up, my dear. And I want you to come up and have that green come up. And then my dear said about the figure 8. So come up and have it swirl around like you're a figure 8. And then you bring down and go back out your leg, my dear, because you're not connected. Your upper half is really connected to the heavens, but you're not connected with me. And so, my dear, I want you to connect with me a little bit more. And so with that, I'm coming back in more now. Sorry, Mother Earth likes to slip in on me, and I like to channel her.
Okay.
So that's why my voice changed a little bit. But what she's saying is that with the energy, if you can trust this, picture yourself with your feet on the ground as you have her green. Usually Mother Earth has that kind of misty green grass, cedar tree, whatever greens you can get, a mixture of that. And let that kind of energy field, if you can image this, come up your right leg, and it crosses over about your belly button. Okay?
Okay.
And then it swirls up and it goes over your shoulders, over your head. The 8 comes back down around, crosses back over in your belly button again, and comes back down into your leg and down into the feet and out into Mother Earth again. She's saying that you're not connected. So your upper chakras, do you understand about chakras?
Yep, I do.
Okay. So the chakras are connected on the upper half, and you really rely on them, but your lower chakras have been really triggered lately. And we switched over a lot of energy about 2 years ago. There's a big porthole that came in about 2 years ago, getting us ready for this, even though we didn't know about that. And a lot of us kind of shot out of our body. And so it's been hard to get back in to being with the body. And so with that they're saying it's time for you to kind of comfy your soul, allow your soul to kind of be with your body. It doesn't have to fit in. It could be with. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
I almost picture, to give people an image, I almost picture my body being the skeleton of my soul. And so it's not cramming into my body, it's being with my body. And so my soul is the one that's able to do the work and that navigation without the hindrance of my body. Okay. I also see that you do have a nerve. You have a vertebrae that is pinched.
Okay.
And so if you can talk with that lower back spot, it's just like, it almost feels like it's on the other side of your belly button, like your higher hip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that if you can go in and talk with that and ask it to take that pin, I'm seeing a pin,
okay,
like a voodoo doll, that pin, and ask for it to come out and release it. You're done with that journey. You're done with that self sabotage.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That does.
And I'm gonna end. If you don't have any more questions, sweetie, I feel like that it's time for me to move on to someone else.
That's good.
But with that if you could do that, and then what I want you to do is ask that energy to be healed, because if we take something out, we have to replace it.
Okay.
Okay, so taking the energy out of that pin, you want to replace it with maybe ask an angel to put its hands on your back so that it puts in that loving energy.
Okay, that sounds great.
Okay, this may not fix it, but ask your body to be able to walk into this new normal.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to give a mantra to everybody right now that I use on a daily moment. This is when I'm leaving my house to go to my school job. This is when I have to do my work, is I attune to the energies of the now. Heavens above, Mother Earth, help me attune to the knowings that I need to be in today. Let my body, let my soul, let my mind and my spirit all be together now in this new knowing of who I am. I'm living in this dimension at this timeline in this knowing. So let me be collective of now to walk into this new knowing.
Thank you.
Okay, and if you can do any version of that. So I always say, let me attune to the energies of the now is the way I always start it.
Okay.
And so with that there is this dance of how we're trying to tune into the new energies. And like I said yesterday, that I don't know if there's a void course moon or whatever there was, but at the same time, there was something that came in for everybody yesterday. I felt that kind of that thickness of the planet yesterday. And so with that check in with your new guides and let them be with you. Your gatekeepers will do the work for you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
And I hope and I pray that, but really if you can, and I would do this more than not for the next week, picture that energy coming up your right leg or your left leg, because your left side's about bringing in, what are you bringing into your life, swirling around like a figure 8, coming out so you can release who you need to release. You're carrying a lot of people, my dear. You've carried a lot of people your whole life. You even need to let go of some of your childhood. So when you release, know that it's almost like a swoosh. Okay?
Okay.
And if you could do this in the shower, it's even better because water is a great conduit. Water is about emotions. And so water, when you're in the shower, that's a great time to let it wash and go down the drain.
Okay.
Okay?
Fantastic. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. And may grace come to you in this new journey that you're in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. You have yourself a wonderful afternoon. It's going to be beautiful today, and I hope your back feels better. I'm sure it will now. By the way, that does open up the phone lines. If you'd like to give us a call, you can. 425-373-5527 or toll free 888-298-5569. And now comes the most important part of the show because we get to talk about our advertisers and what they can do for us. I hope that you'll stay with us and listen to these guys. Martha Norwalk's Animal World with Positive Talk and Kevin McDonald continues right now on KKNW 1150 AM.
Hi, this is Martha Norwalk, host.
Alternative Talk 1150, talk radio for the body, mind, and soul.
And welcome back to the last Sunday of the month. That means that it's Positive Talk Sunday with me. That would be Kevin McDonald. And by the way, you actually heard a commercial about my podcast, which is called My Independence Report. And if you go there, Natasha and I spent an hour and a half talking on that the other day. And it was a fascinating discussion. So I hope that you will go there and look at that. And also Whispering Dragons. And I've got a message from Martha to all the folks that are out there that are would like to participate and go see Whispering Dragons and go to their. I'm told I haven't been there yet, but I understand that they've got a room that is to die for. That is really fun to go in there, and they've got gongs and they've got different modalities as far as creating energy and that kind of thing, but. Barring the fact that right now is not a really good time to really go anywhere, most of these people, including Jude and Paul Ponton at Whispering Dragon, they do things remotely. And so they can Linda Rasmussen and Nels Rasmussen as well. And, oh, by the way, we have a new advertiser, and her name is Natasha, I think. And she does things remotely, too. So you can be sitting in your house doing what you're supposed to be doing right now, which is being in your house, and call them up on the phone and have a wonderful session. I had one with Linda Rasmussen, and it was it was amazing, the energy that can transform from one to another. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit with Natasha, because she does remote work all over the world, and it's just remarkable to watch, so, and to listen to. So that's why I'm here, because I get to listen to her. And Nathan brought up a really good point that I just wanted to emphasize, and that is, when Martha does her show, she does affirmations. Affirmations are a real big key to setting the tone for your life of who you choose to be and how you choose to get there. And so Natasha would like to give us a couple of affirmations along those lines. Isn't that correct, my dear?
It is. And I'm going to tune into, let's see, who do I want to tune into to help me with this? I'm going to tune into Mother Earth right now. And with her, when I tune into Mother Earth, I do, if anybody knows about channeling, I do channel. I am one who channels where I'm still here, so I have a knowing of what's going on. But at the same time, if somebody is sitting with me, my body language is different and my voice changes a little bit.
It did.
And if you noticed on that last call that my voice did change a little bit, well, I didn't let Mother Earth in all the way. But what I would like to do now is that she would love to have, I would love to have her come in and do an affirmation for me. Okay? So with that, okay, give me a second here.
That sounds really cool.
My dears, I would really love to have you sit with me for a minute and just say, I am loving my body. I am loving the knowings of who I am today. And as I come forth, and as this dear one here says, the butterfly, as I come forth in this new knowing of who I am, I'm going to trust, the word is, the key word, my dears, is trust that I am worthy of being on this planet that you are standing on, because I hold you in the gravity of love, my dears. I hold you in that knowing that you are so worthy of being here. So my affirmation for you, my dears, is that everyone who is on this planet will be so forgiving on who they used to be. Now it's time to be worthy and be knowing of who you are today. So, as you tell yourself, my dears, I am worthy to being on this planet. I am worthy to be with Mother Earth because she says she loves me, which I do. So with that, your new affirmation for yourselves, my dears, I am worthy to be on this planet and to be loved. I just love you, and just remember that no matter what you do, my dears, I understand you're not perfect. You're just love. You're just going to be loved. So just know you are loved, my dear. Love you guys.
That made me feel good all over, just for fun.
She is joy. She is giddy. She is just, she's a fairy, just in the circle form of love. That's all I can get from her is that she's just a fairy that is just this big earth circle. The fairies are always fun and giddy.
I have to tell you, my dear, you really are good at what you do. We're talking to Natasha Venter. She is, she's whatever she chooses to be, quite frankly, and she's really, really good. And we are going to talk with Ivy in Bothell, who has got an energy issue that she'd like to talk to you about. Ivy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, Ivy. May I have permission, my dear?
Yes.
Thank you. So you have a heaviness in your body?
Yes. It's been that way for a while. It's like physically just, I'm not sure how to even explain it. Like yesterday when you said the incoming energy, I did that. I slept in, I took a nap, and I went to bed early.
Mm-hmm.
Is that new incoming energy that is giving me this heaviness? I even feel like physically I've gained weight.
Yes, well, and also too, many times that us humans, okay, give me the words, please. When we're going through many changes, our body sometimes doesn't know how to handle it. Okay. I always get this image. Like if you take a semi truck and the big trailers that they carry, right? And many of us, if we're in the semi truck, that's our spirit and our minds. And our spirit and our minds do all the work. And they end up and take off and they do the travels that we do in our day-to-day work, right? So the truck is traveling around our earth, right? And then all of a sudden we go, oh, wait a minute, I forgot to take the trailer with us. That has all that we need with us, our tools, our clothes, our body, we need to eat and all those things. So we have to go back and pick up our trailer, right? And when we pick it up, it's almost like a kerclunk, okay? Because the trailer and the truck have not connected really well, because our semi truck has done all the advancing. It's done all the knowings. It's done all the emotional, spiritual work, right? But then our physical body hasn't done it. Our physical body was, I don't want to say forgotten, but it wasn't connected with. Okay? And what did Mother Earth just say about being connected with her? Okay, this is why I like being a partial channel, because I like to hear what she says. That, we as a human being forget that we are a being in our bodies. Okay? So with that I feel like that some of the weight that you've carried, some of the extra that you have been feeling, it's your body that needs to be engaged with. Okay. I feel like there's a theme here going on with the bodies today about remembering that we need to clean them out. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so with that my dear, that I feel like that you have done a lot of your spiritual work. You've opened up so much. I'm so proud of you for what you've done. You've really become a more enlightened being. I'm going to just use those cliche words. You've done a lot of that. Have you sat down with your body and said thank you to your body?
Probably not. No.
Okay. So with that, if you can, like I would told the last caller, have your spirit and your body kind of come down and be with that. Okay. And like the last caller, that I feel like that you've been carrying a lot of, okay. Thank you for that word. When I say that, my team has popped in a word for me. Your shadows. Okay. Mm-hmm. I have an understanding that in life, there's the light and then there's the dark. Okay. People love the light, but they're afraid of the dark. They're afraid of the shadows. Okay. Do you understand what I mean by shadows?
Yes.
Okay. We need shadows everywhere, under the tables, under dressers. There's going to be darkness everywhere. But yet sometimes our darkness, our shadows get so thick and heavy that we forget to clean them out. Does this make sense to you?
Yes.
Okay. So with that, kind of like how we need to vacuum underneath a table or vacuum underneath a dresser to clean it out, sometimes we need to release and shift what our shadows are about. Okay. You've been carrying a lot of energy in your soul being. Okay. That's why you're feeling so heavy and so lethargic, which part of that is the work we're doing. We're supposed to be slow and lethargic because they're doing a lot of work on us. We're in the cocoon of the butterfly. Mm-hmm. And so with that, we're not meant to move around. But at the same time, it's good to be able to clean out. It's kind of like when we have all our guides and all our loved ones that are in one room. The room gets really heavy and thick. Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes we need to tell some of our old guides and our old friends and everything like that, the party's over. It's time to leave. You're done with your job. Thank you very much. The new guys are coming in. Come on in. Let the other guys go. And many times that switch over, getting a new trailer, that our semi truck has, or whatever metaphor you want to use, that many times we need to just shift out, vacuum out some of our shadows, clean out some of the old things that we used to use, some of the old truths that we used to have, some of our old, I don't want to call them friends, because sometimes it's the people in our lives physically and metaphorically that kind of still walk with us, even though they don't really need to anymore. Old coworkers that we don't interact with, things like that. It's time to clean them out of our shadows that we carry and move them out into, just say, my guides who are for my greater good, please help me clean out my being that I am, and let there be the gift of who I am, be enlightened and lighter.
Perfect.
Does that make sense?
Perfectly.
Yeah, and I can feel that you're already doing that work. You have knowings in you, sweetie. Trust them.
Okay, that sounds good. I understand it now. Yeah.
And I'm also tapping into, there are some old habit foods that you're eating, my dear. And it's time to either shift where you're getting them from or shift what you're eating.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give an example. And I love Reese's peanut butter cups, but what I have done is that instead of having Reese's peanut butter cups, I've enlightened my eating to having good peanut butter with good chocolate chips and mixing in a little bit of good honey from a local beer and mixing that up and make my own peanut butter cups.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that the peanut butter cups were wrong, but it was what you were doing. The old habit can be shifted into a new knowing.
Okay.
And it's time to shift some of those things out so that your body is shifting into a new knowing. Your body needs to be set. It's wanting to be recognized, my dear, I feel like. And I feel like once you become your team, your truck and trailer as one, and you go through your life, you're going to be lighter. You're going to be more energetic. You're going to have more flow with you because you have your whole team with you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you'd like more help with this, I can do this more personally too. So,
okay,
with but I feel like that will be helpful. You have knowing, so trust them, my dear, with working through some of your shadow work. And like I said to the last caller, water is a great element for working through emotions and clearing out much of what we have. And so if we can have the water wash over us, and then as it goes over our body and then down the drain, we just say goodbye. Thank you for visiting me. Thank you for helping. I'm done. And let the water wash what we don't need anymore away.
Yeah, what really resonated was the carrying around the old with me and asking the new guides to leave behind the old.
Yes. It's called cleaning out. I have an image for me, and this is for everybody. I have an image that my team, all my guides, dragons, fairies, dyslexic self, past lives that are useful for me at this, I have a round table. And all of them sit at a round table, all my guides and my body, my soul, my spirit. And with that everybody has a voice. Nobody is smart. A dragon is just as smart as my dyslexic self. Everybody has a uniformity. But the thing is, though, sometimes someone sitting at that table is not any useful anymore. And they're dragging me down. And so I need to say, thank you for your service. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for your help. Can you leave and come back when you're needed again? And then somebody else, a new guide or a new spirit, will come and sit at that table, at that place, for that new energy to be brought into what we're doing right now. Does that give you a different image?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Ivy, for giving us a call today, and I really hope that helps.
Oh, that was wonderful. It really enlightened me.
Well, thank you. Remember, you're on the cusp of that chewing out of your cocoon. So what do you want to be as you unfurl your wings? And remember, butterflies ache when they unfurl their wings. So it's not necessarily a graceful moment. It doesn't have to be painful, but it's not going to necessarily be comfortable. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Good job, sweetie. You're doing a great job.
Thank you.
Awesome, Ivy. Thank you for giving us a call today on Positive Talk on Martha Norwalk's Animal World. That does open up a phone line if you'd like to give us a call. And by the way, I just thought I'd share with you the fact that what generally happens here is that since we start at 9 o'clock, from 9 to 10 is kind of quiet because and people aren't up and about yet, but then it gets busier and busier. So I would suggest that if you want to talk to Natasha, that you give us a call right now at 425-373-5527 or 888-298-5569. We are going to continue with another group of our famous, wonderful advertisers that help keep us on the air so that we can bring you people like Natasha who can help you with what is going on in your life. So we'll be continuing right now on KKNW 1150 AM. And welcome back to Martha Norwalk's Animal World. This is the last Friday or last Sunday. Oh boy, she's got me just discombobulated because her energy is so strong that it is just I can't speak very well. So in any event, she is Natasha, and she is a psychic medium and just somebody who's really connected to the other side and has a whole group of advisors that is helping her help us. So if you'd like to give us a call, I recommend you do it soon. 425-373-5527 or 888-298-5569. And during that break, we heard from Matt Shea. He is an author of note in the local area. He's got, like 9 or 10 books that are just wonderful. They're Martha speaks very, very highly of them. I've read them, a couple of them. They're really good as well. I enjoy them greatly, and they're real easy to read. It's a nice read. So go to mattshea.author.com, I think, or Matt Shea, and go to marthanorwalk.com, and we've got a little link that will take you to his books. So get those, and also Martha Norwalk, who happens to be the star of this here show, has been doing this for 25 years. But the thing that she does mostly is she is a animal behavioral therapist, and so she can help you with your cat or dog issues and other animals as well. But she focuses right now on your dog and your cat and how to make them live a little bit better with you and be a little bit of training. As a matter of fact, my son has a brand new Labrador puppy, and I'm going to have her come down because the Labrador puppy doesn't really know that, going pee in the house is not such a good idea. So I'm going to have Martha help him with that. So given that, I hope that you'll participate with her. Give her a call, bug her email. She'll respond to you, and then she can help you with your dog issue or your cat issue. So, Natasha, how you doing? I am
doing wonderful. This is a blast. I am just so grateful to be a voice, to be where I'm supposed to be. I've always seen myself standing in front of thousands talking, and this is just one of those avenues that the universe decided to put me in, and I am so grateful. Thank you, Kevin, for trusting me.
Well, I'll tell you, if you go to my podcast, which is my Independence Report, we did a whole hour and a half together and got a lot of information out. So go to that as well. But this is going to be a fun couple hours is what we've got left, and I'm really looking forward to it. So instead of listening to me, let's go ahead and talk to Ellen and Everett. Ellen, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Hello. May I have permission, please?
You do have permission.
Thank you so much. What would you be wanting to receive, my dear?
I would like to have some positive news in my future.
Okay. First off, I'm going to mention to you, have you accepted where you're at right now, my dear? And when I say that, it doesn't mean that you have to accept and wallow in it. It's more about, people forget that when we accept something, we can just say, you know what, I accept it. Okay, I'm ready to move on. It's about being right here, right now, in the moment of where we're at. And I feel like that when we can accept where we're at, it puts us on the jumping board to dive into what's next in our lives. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And with that, my dear, that you I feel like that you know, this is just the cliche word that I've been using, that all of us are like in this cocoon and in this butterfly. Oh, I get what you're supposed to do. Okay. So, my dear, I love it when my team comes together and say, have you written new contracts for what you want to be right now?
No.
Okay. This is something that I have done with my dyslexia, with my finances, and frankly, my husband being an alcoholic. And anything that I wanted to shift in my life is that I made up new contracts in my life. And right now, being in the cocoon, ready to pop out, it's a great time to set up new contracts. Okay? I have an understanding that in this lifetime, when we come into this world, our spirit and our bodies connect, that we have contracts that we have set up for our lives. People have an understanding that maybe we have to have that contract our whole life. Okay, my dear? We don't. We have the ability to say, I am done with what has been going on with my life. Okay? So on a piece of paper, I would like you to write down, and if you have a piece of paper right now, just write down real quick, because this is something that I'm going to, it's not necessarily that that I can spend a lot of time on. And like I've been saying, that if we want to do a private session, we can. Okay. That, and what you can do is at the top, if you have a written goals, this or something better for, and then you say your whole name. For me, I say my whole maiden name, married name, and whatever else I can put up there. Okay. This or something better. Okay. And underneath that, say, I am done. Did you hear my voice? Did you hear my voice, sweetie? Yeah. It's, if you want to stomp it, I write it in capitals. I put it in black ink. I am freaking done. I am so freaking done with what my life is right now. Okay? Okay. And you label what that is.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I kind of become a caretaker to everyone. I'm tired of taking care of people that should be able to take care of themselves.
Yes. And many people are done that. Okay, so I am done being the caretaker for everyone. I am willing to be the giver of care for many. Do you hear the switch in words?
Okay.
I am done being the caregiver. I'm wanting to be the giver of care.
Okay. I like that.
I am done holding people up.
Okay.
I am allowing them to walk their own life. Do you hear how I'm done with something and then I'm opposite?
Yes.
Okay. So start writing down whatever you're done with. Does that make sense? Now, remember that we're human and we have practiced ourselves well being a caregiver. Okay? And just because family members told you that you were supposed to do this, or you slipped into this this process because of life problems,
right,
that you slipped in being this caregiver, practice yourself switching it out.
Okay.
In other words, like if somebody calls up because it's a norm, hey, you can say, sure. Oh, wait a minute. I'm practicing. No, I can't.
Okay.
And even if you say, I can, and then you click the phone down and then you think, what in the heck did I just do to myself?
Right.
Okay. Put that stick down because you're done beating yourself up being the caregiver. Put the stick down that you're beating yourself up and say, you know what? Okay. Call them back up and say, you know what, sweetie? I decided that, you know what? I just can't do all of that right now. It's just too much. But why? Because they've practiced enough to give you the sorrow thing. You just say, you know what? Right. I have to go. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. And somebody's at the door. Click.
Okay.
So it's okay to practice not being perfect through this moment. Okay? And you don't have to say no to everybody, but pick one thing, not one person, but one thing you're going to say no to in a day.
Okay. I like that.
Okay. It doesn't have to matter what it is or who's attached to. Just practice it because practice makes better. Okay. And being a human, we're supposed to be perfectly imperfect, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
And then when you feel like you're done, when you're done with that, then maybe try to the next 3, after doing that for 2 or 3 days, practice doing that to 2 scenarios. Do you notice I'm not saying people, I'm saying scenarios.
Scenarios, I like that.
Okay? Because many times our life lessons are attached to people. We need to take the people out of it and take it to the scenario. Sometimes our people are just the people. The people are the messenger for the lesson that we're supposed to, or the experience we're supposed to work on. Okay. And start saying to yourself, your new mantra is, "I'm a giver of care. I'm done being a caregiver." Okay.
Thank you. And have a
good
day.
You're welcome for coming on the show with us today. And we're going to close the book on hour 1 of the show, which means that we've got 2 whole hours left for you to contact us and talk to Natasha. And that is 425-373-5527 is the number. And by the I'm having such trouble with names that we're going to hold Nakia, who Nathan spelled phonetically for me so that I wouldn't screw it up so bad. We're going to hold her to the new hour, and we are going to continue with Martha Norwalk's Animal World right here on KKNW 1150 AM. McDonald, that's me. And the idea here is for us to take care of the human animal and to talk about things in life that we all face and we all need some help with from time to time, which is why we bring some great people on to talk to you about what your issues are. And right now we've got a lot of issues. If you've been sitting at home for a month, give us a call and tell us what life is like for you sitting at home for a month. And if there's any way that we can help you perhaps work through these issues that we are finding that are confronting us, that would be great. We would be happy to do that for you. And our guest for the entire 3 hours today is Natasha Venter, and she is a psychic medium, personal awareness coach, and she's got a direct connection to the other side. And so she can help you with that. She can channel a little bit. She can help with Mother Earth and with her angels and all the other folks that she has zinging around her, and which is would be fun for you to pay attention to us. So these 3 hours are designed specifically for you to give us a call and talk to her about anything that you would like. The blinders really are off, and she can help you with a whole bunch of different stuff. So if you'd like to give us a call and get lined up now, you can 425-373-5527 or 298-5569. And Natasha, I wish I could speak. That would be good. How are you today, my dear?
I'm doing good. And I love, I on one of the breaks, I was saying that I love that how you are tapping into me with not being able to pronounce my name very well sometimes, because I do shift and where I'm at and who I'm connected with. And so sometimes I'm not necessarily Natasha in the realm of the physical. I'm sometimes tapped into different connections of angels or fairies or, a personal guide or something like that. So it makes sense. And frankly, my dear, you're talking to a dyslexic in the human form who many times, like my girlfriend of 20 years, introduces herself, because a lot of times when I'm ready to introduce my girlfriend and her name goes out of my head. So you're actually doing good with names today.
Well, thank you so much. By the way, while we have a chance, if somebody would like to contact you, how do they do that?
I have different modes of connection. So with me, I'm on Facebook with Natasha Venter, Angelic Clarifications, where I do inspirational quotes, and I do post Monday through Friday or Sunday night through Thursday night. And you can message me through there. I also am on Instagram at Natasha Venter 96, where I also do the same posts. I usually do the same, just double back, but you can message me there. Also through Natasha Venter, or Natasha at Angelic Clarifications is my email.com. Natasha at Angelic Clarifications. Make sure there's 2 C's and an S at the end. .com to get me there. And also through my phone too, if you would like to.
And that number is
360-770-7486, and text is okay. 360-770-7486.
And like many of Martha's advertisers that she has on, you can work remotely with her, and she'd be more than happy to talk to you about things that the whole process, and do it remotely with you. Also, the one thing I did want to mention is that Ananda classes are going online, and even yoga is now happening online at the AnandaWashington.org. So go there at www.AnandaWashington.org, and they've got a whole plethora of things for you, including what Martha's doing Sunday morning today is remotely going to church with them. So do that, and you can also remotely contact virtually all of our advertisers, and they can do some great things for you. Let's go ahead and are you ready to talk to some more folks?
Yes, I would like to finish up something with Ellen that I'm getting a tap that I need to finish up. So with her, what I did was I mentioned to her about how writing a new contract. I am done with something, and I'm going to replace it with something else. Okay, I'm done with being a caregiver. I'm willing to be a giver of care. Okay, so you're saying something. What I would like you to do is at the end of that, say thank you, and write thank you all the way around it, because you've already received it. Okay, and then read it 3 times and burn it, so that you're releasing it into the heavens. Now, burn it safely. That means outside in a metal can, wherever you can, or you can rip it up and bury it in the ground. Whatever you need to do to release it off into its new knowing. And with that you can now be where you want to be. Okay, does that make sense? And if you do it with the new moon or the full moon, sometimes there's a little bit more impact. But yet at the same time, any time is perfect.
And how I got that in my little pea brain sense of the way it works is like, okay, I'm tired of being a doormat. I'll help you, but I'm tired of being a doormat. So,
yes.
Don't walk.
Perfect.
Don't walk on me anymore. I can help you, and I can use my talents to help you get through what you need to get through, but don't expect me to be your doormat. Exactly. Many a times it's a phone call instead of going and to that person's house and doing it for them. Exactly. Well, let's go ahead and let's go talk to Nakiha, and she wants to talk to you and just do general conversation. So this will be interesting. Nakiha, you there?
I am here.
Hello, my dear.
I need some reinvention and refurbishing.
Do I have your permission, my dear?
Yes.
Thank you. So, because of the fact that with being on the radio, it's kind of like being tuned into many different radio stations. Can you give me a little bit more what area you're looking at so I can tune in a little bit more cleaner?
Okay, so I was a workaholic and I've been on a long sabbatical, and I'm just trying to figure out how to not dry up and blow away.
I thank you for that clarification. Yes, many of us are going through this. I love that you called in, because many of us are, we have decided that our value is in what we're doing instead of what we're being. I'm going to let that sit for a minute. Our value has...
Speaking? Okay.
What our value has been is what we're doing instead of being.
Okay.
So many of us have been told as young ones that you need to do. Many of us also have practiced doing so that we didn't have to think about our lives. Sometimes it's a combination of both. Sometimes there's another thing put into that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So with that, and the universe, I love the universe, because sometimes they say, you know what? It's time for you to stop and think about something. It's time for you to process through some of what you're working through. Okay. Sometimes they may break a leg. Sometimes they may break an arm. Sometimes they'll trip you so that you have to sit down for a minute. Like for me, I ended up tripping coming out of a classroom and my knee was a little banged up. So I had to wait a minute. That's the message. Slow down a minute. Okay. And once I got that message and I slowed down a little bit, my healing process quickened up. Okay. So many times the universe will put things in front of us so that we can flip the coin over and work on something that we haven't looked at. Is this making sense for you, my dear?
Yes.
Okay. So now what I would like you to do, here's a mantra for you, my dear, if you are willing to receive it, is that my value and who I am is my being with someone instead of doing.
Oh.
And then I'm going to ask you to take off that last sentence instead of doing. My value, my worthiness. There's a cue. I love that word, worthiness. My worthiness is about being. Okay. And remember that many times our life is about being in different phases. And I'm going to use the many times we're the egg of a caterpillar. Okay. And we start out something, a new job, a new knowing. And then we become the caterpillar and we start munching on leaves. We're getting information, right? We're getting that information, what we're doing, who we're becoming, what we're in the process of doing. That's maybe our new job. We're really taking in our information. We're in the process of doing what we got to do. We're learning who we are. Okay. And then we go into a cocoon phase. Okay. That means maybe where our jobs change, where we take a moment, we go on vacation. We sit in the car a few minutes before we go from getting ready for the morning, driving to work. We sit in the car for a minute. We cocoon ourselves saying, I am okay to be who I am today. I just need to be. I don't need to do. I'm just being. And then we go into our job. Sometimes our cocoon can be just as quick as just a few minutes. And then we become the butterfly. We become that knower, that it doesn't matter what flower we land on. It doesn't matter where we fly to. We just got to be. Oh, there's an opportunity. I can fly over there, right? So with that, I would like you to be okay with yourself. Start practicing this, my dear. Practice being okay with yourself with a new label. Okay? I am done being the workaholic, like I did that previous caller. I don't know if you heard about rewriting your contract, that you're done with being a workaholic. Now you're being your being. You are a beautiful spiritual being, my dear. I see your light shining. You are able to work with people. You are able to navigate with people better than a lot of people can, right? You're able to flow in and out of places and touch people. Okay. So change your definition of your purpose. Your purpose isn't to do for people. Your purpose is to be with people. Sometimes just walking, like for me in my school, sometimes me just walking down the hallway is being my purpose. I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm just being. Right? And so changing your definition of who you are. Okay. It's going to take practice. Okay. But this is a good time for that, opening yourself up and saying, oh, look at who I can be now. Oh, my back feels better because I'm standing more upright because I'm not carrying around so much weight. Oh, someone's walking up to me. Oh, what can I do with them, not for them? Do you hear the difference in that linking word?
Yes.
Okay. Is this helping?
It is.
Okay. So with that, trust yourself that your process isn't doing. It's about being. Now, being, sometimes we have to do. It doesn't mean that we're taking a break on not doing. But sometimes we have to change the reason for doing it. The intention. Start your intention off differently. My intention for the day is to be with those around me. Oh, that feels different in my body, doesn't it? Does that feel a bit different in your body?
Yes.
Okay. So with that, trusting yourself that you're not having to do. Okay. I would like you to release, if you can. I'm getting an image about how something in your life when you were around 9 or 10, I'm getting, that really keyed in this have-tos. I'm going to label them. There's something that happened where you heard or something that happened around you that you started to have to. I.e., maybe parents had a big fight, or there's something that happened where you had to start taking care of instead of just being.
Okay.
Is anything tapping you around that 9, 10, 8, sometime in that range? I'm seeing a younger girl that started this pattern.
I'm thinking more like 12, but...
No, that's okay. That's okay, sweetie, because
we had
different people look different.
Someone lived with us who did all the chores, and the minute she walked out the door, it was all mine.
Ah, there you go. Okay, so sorry about being wrong on the age, but... Yeah, no, that's perfect. Thank you for mentioning that, because sometimes I get an image of an age, and sometimes that age could be off a little bit, but 9, 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there. So with that, I would like you to go to that little girl. And have you ever heard of a soul retrieval?
I've heard the term. I'm not real familiar with it.
That's okay. Basically, the concept is just going back to a part of our lives and seeing that girl or that person that could be a little boy, depends on if male, female, or like my child who's transgender, it could be either one. That with that, you take the hand as a metaphor and you say, look at what we are now. We're okay. We don't have to do for everybody else just because it was set up that I was having to at that time. I'm grateful for the lessons. I'm grateful for the wisdom that came from that. Yet at the same time, now being the person I am today, I am done with that journey. And you walk that person up through your ages, different times, and they witness you being okay now. Okay? And as you do that, and you let that being kind of sit with you and just say, hi, how are you? At the age that you are now, my dear, that you can navigate through just releasing that emotionally a little bit differently. Okay? I'm not going to call it better, just differently.
Right.
Okay? You can do that now. You can do that, sitting after this phone call. You can do that whenever. But it is a moment. So remember, if you liked at that age to have ice cream cone, you might get a craving for an ice cream cone because you're integrating in a new part of you. But you can just, but if you can't eat dairy like me or allergic to tree nuts like me, I can't have ice cream now. But I'll say, you know what? I'll treat you good by just maybe going and jumping rope like you used to do. So I would transfer what I needed to do. So it's just that part of getting to know yourself a little bit differently. I love that word. Thank you for putting that word in. Knowing yourself a little bit now as you were then, but now you are now. Okay? Because we're in this new knowing. People who used to have to do for their jobs now are being able to delegate a little differently. Like if you were used to be a manager of a restaurant and you had to do everything. Well, now maybe you might have coworkers that you can start practicing delegating. You know what? I see that you're really good at talking with people. Do you mind talking with people and getting them settled in on their tables? And then you see someone who's more closed in and not good, but yet they like to be social. Maybe they're the ones that clear the tables. So that you start delegating more who these people can do, and let the people have their own journeys in their lives. Many times, I like the metaphor that people kind of have is that, and I heard this from on I can't remember who the gentleman was, but it was on Oprah Winfrey's show, that he said about being in other people's movies. Many a times we try, and goes for caregivers too, and workaholics, and a lot of the people who if my life is my Natasha movie, okay, and then my husband Rick has his own movie, right? Sometimes as a wife, I want to step in and be a co-person, what's the word? Where you're a co-person who's working in the movie or being a play in the movie. But sometimes
a co-star.
Thank you for that word, Kevin. Thank you. A co-star in their movie. But then we start taking over the main role. Well, my husband, Rick, that's his movie. I, Natasha, can't be his main actor. I can be his co-star. I can be his co-person, but I cannot be his main person. So many of us start taking on other people's roles in their movies. Oh, wait a minute. I'm stepping in way too much into his movie. I need to step back and just be in my movie, being a co-person in his movie. And him in mine. And so with that's a little bit dance. Go ahead, sweetie.
Well, that's deep, because I was the caregiver to my brother who passed away, and he couldn't speak, and so I feel like I had to inhibit whatever I thought he was trying to tell me or do.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't left me, and then I had some things happen after that just sort of diminished me. So I just kind of crawled back into made a shell.
Yes, thank you for clarifying. Thank you. Yes, that we step into that role, and many times it's hard to switch out of it. Okay.
Yeah, it was like more than being codependent. It was I was driving the bus, and it didn't work out for me.
And I had to do the same thing when my mom had Lou Gehrig's disease, that I had to switch from being the daughter to being the mother. It's not easy to switch out of that. Okay, so what I'm going to ask you to do is have an image, okay? And this could be a meditation / whatever you want to call that that you can do with yourself in a moment is that your brother loves you, my dear. Your brother is so grateful that you were able to be that for him. What was your brother's name, my dear?
Malcolm.
Ladies, I'll tell you what, we need to take a break. And why don't we continue this conversation on the other side of that, and that'll give you a chance to recalibrate and for Nakia to just have a moment to kind of gather her thoughts, and we need to take care of our advertisers right now, and we're continuing with Martha Norwalk's Animal World, and this is the Positive Talk edition right here on KKNW 11. Hi there, it's me, Kevin McDonald from Positive Talk. And I have a great podcast recommendation for you. It's called My Independence Report, and it features great episodes from the past, as well as new interviews and positive thoughts and ideas relevant today. I hope that you'll take the time to give it a shot. Just go to myindependencereport.com or wherever you get your podcasts. That's myindependencereport.com. And remember, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got. And welcome back to Martha Norwalk's Animal World. This is the very last Sunday of April, which means that it's Positive Talk Sunday. And I'm your host. My name is Kevin McDonald, and you are here with Natasha Venter. She is an extraordinary human being, and we are in the middle of a conversation. So we'll continue with the conversation with Nakia right now. So, ladies, go for it.
Thank you. And thank you for your patience, sweetie. So I'm just going to add a little bit more into this, because I feel like that this could be a little bit longer conversation. And since we're on the radio, I don't want to really go into a really long conversation, if that's presentable. Yeah. So with this, Nakia, that when we are caregivers because of life happening, we are human, that many times we have to be willing to shut the door on what was to what is. Okay? Yes. And so with that many times we've had to practice, and this is that part of I'm going to keep going back to this because we're so much into this metaphor of the caterpillar, that who you used to be, the gift that you used to be. And Malcolm is so grateful for he's saying that no one else could have been the voice for me that you were. No one could have known what I was needing as you did, even though many times, my love, that you said something that you thought was wrong, but I really needed it, even though it wasn't right or felt right to you. But I'm grateful that you were willing to be that strength, that he wants to say stick in the mud, for being that person that was willing to be that backup for me, even though I could not be. And he is so grateful for that. And then what I'm getting, go ahead.
No, just wow.
And then I'm getting from my guides and your guides that they would like you to actually shut the door, metaphorically, spiritually, even if you go up and physically shut another door, shut the door on what was in that life and turn around and look at what your life is supposed to be now. Okay, so I'll give you an example, and I'm going to make this shorter. So, like I said, that if you want to get in touch with me, we can do a little bit more. That when my mother passed away with Lou Gehrig's disease, I shut the door, not of her, but of the scenarios of being her caregiver, and turned around and saw this was a great time for me to open up and be my greater self. This is when I became more intuitive. This is when I trust my voice. My husband even says after my mom passed away that I was not the same woman that he married. And I turned around and I saw this as a great time to dump out a lot of my emotions and work through a lot of my childhood and a lot of that process of my life that has been up to that moment, so that I can be a cleaner, more lighter, more knowing Natasha walking forward in my life. So it didn't mean that I stopped being the person that I loved my mother, but I stopped being the caregiver of my mother.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
And letting go of that, it's not necessarily that we have to let go of it. It's about just honoring it for what it was, because it's not there anymore. It was a great gift that you could do that for your brother. He is so thankful. He is so grateful that you were doing, but the last thing he would want you to do is stop your life because of him. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. He wants you to be the light that you are. It's almost like a new flower unfurling in the springtime. The old one had to die in the fall, and now you're this new flower that's unfurling in the springtime. So trust this new flower that you're becoming. Start enjoying doing those things that you used to do. Start enjoying doing the things that you did, that you found that you could do new now. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And like I said, if you want to go in deeper with this, we can do a personal session with this.
Thank you so much.
And remember, grief is part of this walk, my dear. Grieving who you used to be, and so that you can become who you are. It's okay to grieve. It's okay to be emotional about this. Why did I have to do that? Why did I lose half my life? Why did it's okay to be frustrated, angry, whatever those words are, to be the person that you're wanting to be now. That's part of letting go, is being able to be those emotions in a safe place.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Nakia?
It does. Thank you so much for your help.
And I hope that is helpful to you, my dear.
Very much.
Before you go, I'd like to say one thing that just popped into my head, and I hope I'm not being inappropriate, but your brother is insisting that, at least in my reference, that you get over it. I'm fine, he says. I want to thank you for what you did, but I want you to honor me by living your life.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, he's coming in strong, isn't he?
Oh boy.
And I think that would have came through more of a personal session, but like I said, it's on the radio and it's pretty light out there. So, yes. Thank you. Thank you for your trust.
Thank you so much for giving us a call, Nikki. And by the way, that does open up a phone line. If you'd like to talk to Natasha, you can by giving us a call at 425-373-5527 or 888-298-5569. And I want to take a moment. We've got open phone lines, so if you want to call us, you can do it now. But I want to take a moment to talk to Natasha for my own selfish best interest, if I can. For a second.
Okay.
I found out on Monday, I was going through Facebook, and I found out that the guy that I went through school with in high school, we were best buddies. Our girlfriends were best friends, and it was like the four of us were together all the time and had a great time together going through high school. And I found out that he passed away on Monday.
Yes, I'm sorry.
This is for his sister and for the family that he passed away at the tender age of 62, which was really young. And she wanted to know if he was okay. And I know you don't do things without permission. So I'll give you permission to tell me if he has anything to say to me that's appropriate for the radio.
Okay. And what was his name again?
His name was Donald Joseph McNeely.
Okay. Oh, he was fun, wasn't he?
He was a very fun young man. Yes, he was.
Yes. He, his grandmother was with him when he passed.
You know why that was? Because he lived with his grandmother when he came up here from Portland. He lived with his grandmother for until she passed.
Yes. They were very close. She was with him, held his hand as he left his body. He did not go alone. He was he had a partier in a way that, now that he can be lighter in his body, without his body, he's having fun. He's enjoying. He's spending. His mother is still alive, right?
No, his mom has passed as well.
His mom has passed because he's spending time with his mom. So sometimes when things are happening, and I'm going to say that sometimes when people have passed recently, many times that there's this gray area of the veil is thin. So it's hard to know if they're on this side or just on the other side, if that makes any sense.
Oh, absolutely. Well, he's only been gone since Monday. So from what I understand, that there's, he got all kinds of things to do. He's got parties to go to. He's got a life review to do. He's got to decide how he's going to spend the time that he's up there. And he's got lots of places and people to see and things to do. And he doesn't worry about us because he knows that we're fine.
Yes. No, he is the smile on his face, and he's saying, I'm able to do like my old person used to do, like when you guys used to be younger. Did he ride motorcycles?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So there's a confirmation. So he's riding the motorcycle of the sky. He's just having fun. He's sorrowful for the people he's left behind. He's very sad that they have the complication of not being able to do what they wanted to do in the physical realm, i.e. maybe say goodbye like you would want to, or all those things. But just know that he is available to say goodbye and love you to those family members that are left. He visits them regularly right now, checking in on them because he can. Before he was in the physical realm. I mean, that his body wasn't able to. The only way he could do it would be phone call or maybe a visit. But he's having a lot of fun right now. He's grateful to be done with the journey of the physical aches and pains. The illness that he had was pretty taxing on him, and he's grateful to be able to be done with that.
Yep, he is, and he was a fine young man, and he told me about a year before he passed that he didn't expect to live very long because his grandfather died at 58, his dad died at 56, and he said my time here is just about up, and he was right. He just yeah.
Well, and I'm going to speak of that a little bit, that many of us who have family traits that we die at a certain time, we just automatically think that we're going to do that. We can bypass that. We have our own journeys. We have our own knowings in our body that we can work through some of. Like for me, both my parents passed away. They started getting their illnesses at 54 and they passed away at 56. Right now, I'm at 50. What am I? 54 right now.
Something. Yeah.
And I've changed my DNA. I am free from that journey. I have my own life. I want to live. My grandparents lived until their 90s and almost to 100s. I want to do that with health and wisdom. That I'm
key there being health and wisdom.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Health and wisdom. So I know when to take a moment. Like yesterday, I knew I was getting downloads. So I was able to sit and say, I feel like there's something going on. So I'm just going to sit here. My husband asked, do we want to do something? And I said, my brain wants to, but I'm feeling like I just need to not do anything today, and so we didn't. And so I played solitaire on my phone. So my brain had something to do, and we watched a couple movies, and my body had a chance to just rest. And so it's part of that process.
By the way, ladies and gentlemen, just so everybody knows, we're talking with Natasha Venter, and she is a psychic medium and a life coach. And we would love for you to give us a call right now because we do have an open phone line, which is 425-373-5527, or toll free 888-298-5569. We are going to continue with talking with our advertisers right now, because without them, as Martha likes to say, there ain't no us. So since we like to have us, we want to have them. So with that, you're listening to Martha Norwalk's Animal World Positive Talk Edition on the last Sunday of the month, and you're listening to KKNW 1150 AM.
Give your dog, cat, or ferret the gift of great health naturally. Make NuPro all-natural supplements an essential part of your pet's diet. Nutro makes an awesome gravy, sure to please. This gravy provides fresh nutrients for a beautiful, silky skin and coat, strong immune system, and healthy digestion, among other wonderful benefits. NuPro's joint support formula is perfect for working dogs, large breeds, and especially seniors. So go with NuPro, your pet's best friend for over 20 years. Visit online at NuProSupplements.com for more information.
Is your beloved pet limping in pain or even becoming paralyzed? I'm Dr. Nels, and I have a passion for animals and their people. When you've tried everything for your pet but nothing has worked, I'm the one to call. I can help your pet get their happy, active life back without drugs or surgery. For a free consultation with me, go to healingministryforanimals.com and click the free report button now. That's healingministryforanimals.com. I can't wait to hear from you.
Hi, this is Martha and her family. We'd love to have you.
Giving local voices a chance to shine. Alternative Talk 1150.
And welcome back to Martha Norwalk's Animal World. This is the final Sunday of the month, which means it's Positive Talk Sunday with Kevin McDonald. That's who I am. And I wanted to mention, by the way, as far as our advertisers go, in these times when it is impossible for us to get together, and you might think that some of the folks that can help you and can work with you can't get to you, well, you'd be wrong, because our advertisers, including Natasha, and Nels Rasmussen and Linda Rasmussen and Jude and Paul Ponton at Whispering Dragon, they can all do remote services for you. So they can reach you and talk to you anytime you want to. I wish I could say your name, Natasha. That would be really good.
That's okay.
And also, if you want to go to Ananda of Washington.org, they even have yoga that is available for you online. So all of these folks are great for you to talk to, and it'd be great for you to run them down. Go to their websites, and their phone numbers are there and stuff, and you can talk to them. And in addition to that, Martha Norwalk, of course, in addition to being a radio host of note for the last 25 years, is also a animal behavioral therapist. She does great work with both cats and dogs, and can generally do stuff like she says in one session. And sometimes she can solve it over the phone. So give her a call, because she can do some remote things as well right now. So do that. And because all of our advertisers are very important to us, and they allow us to continue to bring really special guests like whoever the hell I have on the phone with me today, because I can't pronounce her name, is really cool. So
I love how human you are. I'm so grateful.
You have no earthly idea how human I actually am. So,
I get it.
I'm far from perfect, and the good Lord saw to it that I would live that way, far from perfection.
Well, and that's why I have the mantra: we're perfectly imperfect.
I live that every day,
and I do too.
And in case you're just joining us, that's been kind of the whole running joke of the show today.
Exactly.
Thanks for clarifying that, Nathaniel. Sorry.
I promised I gave you the buzzer when you said it.
I know. Thank you, Nathan. That surprisingly enough was actually on purpose, but you're not going to buy that for a minute. I know. But anyway, we're talking with Natasha Venter, and she is a psychic medium and a spiritual counselor. She has an entire round table of folks on the other side that can help you understand what's going on with your life, and she can give you some guidance. It's great fun to listen to. I'm having a really, really nice time doing that. And so
good.
If you want to get a hold of her, you can by giving her a call. And your number again is
360-770-7486, and text is okay.
Very, very nice. Now, how do you feel about, since this is Martha Norwalk's Animal World, you can communicate with animals as well, can't you?
Yes, I can.
Well, you know what? Somebody would like for you to do that. Alyssa from Redmond. There is a new cat in the family. That has been a problem. So go ahead. Alyssa, how are you?
Hello, doing good.
Hello, and may I have permission for your household?
Yes.
Thank you. And I put in household because your animals are part of the household, and we're speaking for them.
So I thought I would just kind of add to that. So we got this. So my one cat passed in December, and I called on the last time you were on Martha's, and she gave us a gift of another cat, which was great, but we're having some, I guess we kind of feel like we need some clarification because she acts like she likes her, like, brother cats, but then sometimes she just kind of beats them up. And so we're kind of trying to get some understanding on why she, like, she can get, like, seems like over territorial or overly mean beyond the just territorial parts of, like, cats, I should say.
I'm actually getting an image of my last two cats, and one cat was a bush cat, so he was always low, and my other one was a tortie and was a dominant cat, and so she was always up and on him. Yes. Yes, I can get that. The one thing I'm getting is that have you I feel like that your cat that was left behind is still going through the grief process and isn't quite sure about how this new knower is coming in. This new animal is coming in. So your older cat, the one that was left, is having some how would you like me to say this? And I'm checking in. When I say that, I'm checking in with my team and actually your cat. That your other cat has been not gone through the grief process and is struggling with accepting of this new cat. With that, he's almost given his power away. So with that, and your new cat doesn't understand what just happened in the house and is coming in with empowerment. Do you see the imbalance there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So is this a cat in the household that's having, that hasn't quite worked through their grief yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. The cat that was left. The cat that was left over after, the one that, not the new cat, but the one that was left.
Okay.
How do you picture those two animals getting along?
So I guess sometimes they get along great. Like we have a catio at our house, and the other night we look out and everybody's sitting on the catio right next to each other. Mm-hmm. And then other times there's one brother in particular that they're ragdoll, so they're like very domesticated cats anyway. But he's just like a gentle giant, and she can just really pick on him and kind of nail down him to pick on. Yes.
So what I would like you to do is start talking to the one that picks on the other one. I want you to start, whenever you're interacting with that one cat, start picturing them getting along. Whatever image you have. So like if you're petting the newer cat, and you're petting and you just have that image of them being together and sitting and start saying, this is what's acceptable. And then when you picture them fighting, you go, no, No, that's not acceptable. Okay? And then you picture the one that you want. So you start off with what you want. You have the energy of not acceptable, and then this is what I want. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And you keep doing that. No matter what is happening. So like if this newer cat is attacking the other one, I want you to keep that image of what you want instead of what is happening. Okay. This will slowly help the shift over. And maybe actually picture that there was a cat that passed away. Okay, so that she has an understanding that this is what happened in the house. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that she's getting the image, and the more that you talk with her, the more that you interact with her, the more that your mental image and her mental image will start connecting more. Okay, and once you get that image, then you can start talking with her more. And she'll understand your language a little bit differently.
So I have a question, because I feel like we do talk to her. It not necessarily in the exact way that you have recommended, but does she feel like she's kind of understanding, or does it seem like it's out of context and she doesn't really know what to make of what we're saying?
She's getting more and more able to listen, but she's still kind of on her own instinctual knowings. Do you understand about that?
Yes.
That animals run on an instinct, and then they run on a learned behavior. And sometimes that instinct is a little bit stronger than the learned behavior. And it's just starting to work with that instinct and not necessarily changing it, but curving it around, kind of shifting it just enough that you can kind of navigate with it. Kind of like with my cat. Even though that she would beat up on Mac, Maya would beat up on Mac, my cats. I would keep doing that, and she would attack him, but then she would release him sooner. Does that make sense? So the instinct was to attack him, but then she was able to say, oh, wait a minute, and then release him differently. Or she wouldn't attack him and beat him up, be the bully. She would just attack him and be the dominant cat. Mm-hmm. You hear the difference?
Yes.
So there's still the instinct, but then there was, because he's a gentle giant, and so it's hard for a gentle giant to stand up for himself. And so me being the owner of the household, or the dominant of the household, I had to be his voice sometimes for him.
Because sometimes she is like it. Sometimes she's a really smart cat, this new cat, and it seems like she will do things. She knows she shouldn't do them, and we'll get on her when it happens right in front of us. Yes. But then, we turn our backs, and it could, the same thing could happen again.
Yep, exactly. Because she's becoming the dominant cat. And so she's making sure that people know that she's the dominant cat. Do you play with her?
We do have, there are a lot of toys running around, or that we have, so we will, hit those around. We don't necessarily have a routine of every day somebody sits down and plays with her, though.
I feel like that would be helpful. That she has a lot of energy compared to his, and so it would be helpful to release some of that energy. Kind of like my new cat, she likes to attack my legs, and so I just know that she just wants attention, and so. Her being 8 months old, I just know that I need to spend the time playing with her so that she knows that I'm giving her attention.
Okay.
And then she doesn't necessarily stop attacking me, but she's less aggressive to attacking me. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Because she's instinctful. She came from a a feral mother, so she has differently instincts about how to get what she wants.
Yeah.
so I have to understand that language a little bit. It's kind of like somebody coming from the South coming from the North. You have to just learn their language. She had some journeys before she came to you that she had to stand up for herself, and so she just needs to know that she's going to be okay in this household.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, she's an interesting cat in that she's very scrappy, and she can get what she wants, and she definitely has some history behind her that, she's living a much more luxurious life now.
Yes. So with that, sweetie, that the best way to get to know her and her to get to know you is spend some time together. So even if it's just a few minutes and you play, and you talk with her, you interact with her, that you're creating that relationship with her, which will help take the pressure off your other animals.
Okay. And then, so there's one person in our household. And
Lisa, I'm sorry. I need to break in here because we have to take a break for the top of the hour. You're welcome to hang on to ask that question after the top of the hour. Do you want to hang on?
Yes, thank you.
Very good. You're listening to Martha Norwalk's Animal World. This is Positive Talk, the last Sunday of the month, and you're listening to KKNW 1150 AM. We're going to fire up hour number 3 right coming up soon. And welcome back to Martha Norwalk's Animal World. It's the last Sunday of the month, which means it's Positive Talk Sunday with myself. My name is Kevin McDonald, and we've got some caller on the line. But before we go there, we had an interesting conversation that we had during the break, and we wanted to touch bases with that. And that includes Nathan and Natasha. So take it away, you two.
Well, Natasha, you were talking about in the last hour with Nakia how we have different phases in our life, kind of similar to a butterfly with the cocoons and,
Yes.
spreading its wings. Well, before we went into this stay-at-home policy, when we go to work, we're always in different environments. So, when we're at home, we're with our kids or family or pets, and we're just enjoying our leisure time. And then we get in our car and we commute to work. And you also mentioned that in your discussion with Nakia. But also when we get to work, we're now in our work environment. So we kind of shifted that focus from being at home or in the car. And now we're at work and handling our job duties. But now, since we all had to stay home, some of us are even been forced to take our work home. And basically what that's doing now is combining all of these environments. So meanwhile, while you're at home with your family and pets, you're also at work. And we can't really shift very easily from work to home because it's all under one roof, literally, and causes a lot of conflicts.
Yes. And so as I love the universe and how they slip little lessons in along the way, little experiences to help us create things that we're needing to work on. So many of us in our lifetimes have poor boundaries. We do not have boundaries that tell people, not today. I could do it tomorrow, but not today. And so when we're working on things and we're in the midst of having people on top of people and we're with these people working through things, that we're having to work on boundaries. And boundaries are a tricky concept. People think that boundaries are like a door shutting, a brick wall, a box, something that is firm and permanent. Many times, boundaries are flexible. They are soft like fabric. They are not a straight line. They're very curvy. And they have, I could do it today, but I can't tomorrow. And they have some different flows to it. So many of us are needing to say, kind of like how when we have work at home, like me with my work, I've been checking my work emails at 9:00 at night. And I'm like going, what am I doing?
And that temptation is always there, no matter what.
It's always there. And so I have to purposely put my phone down and say, tomorrow morning. tomorrow morning. And my boundary is that I can give myself that moment where I can say no. Now, like the other night, I had that really strong intuitive feeling that I needed to check my emails, and I did, because there's some political stuff. Our district is trying to do furloughs and more than I want to get into. So I really felt like I needed to connect with it. So I did connect with work at 9:00 at night. But then after that, I put it away and I shut the door on it, so that it wasn't necessarily a total strength brick wall boundary. It was a not right now. Kind of like with kids, if they are needing to learn that I expect my parents to be there all the time. Well, no, dear, I need to make this phone call, and I need you to preoccupy yourself for 5 minutes while I make this phone call. So the boundary isn't that you're not going to be dealing with your kids for the hour. It was maybe just for that phone call. So you're creating boundaries saying, you need to go take care of yourself. I need my own self. I am doing work. And this is where kids are finally seeing, this is me working in the school district, a purpose maybe to why they need to learn things. And so they're starting to see that their parents are really working when they leave the house. Many kids don't even have the concept that their parents work when they leave the house. They don't get what parents have to do. And so they're being a witness to their parents. And what a gift that we as parents can give a gift to our children about boundaries. Doesn't mean that we have to be mean. It doesn't mean that we have to be firm. We have to say, no, not now, and be firm with that. And boundaries, like I said, don't have to be brick walls, but they can be soft fabric that says, not right now. Kind of like a curtain letting light in. It lets some light in, but it doesn't have to let all the light in, right? So we can have those boundaries. So with that, it's about having time. Now, another thing I want to talk about is that once we start breaking out of our cocoon and we start merging into our new normal, that we're going to have to understand that we have to be energetically aware that we're walking into something. So I'd like to give an image to people. Like when I have done some spiritual work, I picture a tube, and it's like a clear tube that is, I'm at one end and my life that was before at another end. Okay. Do you have that image? And as I start walking down the tube of who I am now, and my life starts walking to the tube at the other end, and we meet so we can merge into what we're doing. Okay. And then I continue back down the tube into my new life that I'm creating, so that as my life that I have turned into now can merge with the life that I'm going to be. And it's a big concept, but at the same time, that helps so that there's not such a big impact, a slap, whatever you want to call it, into our new life. This also helps with boundaries, because we can take what we've learned from our old life, our life that we just transformed into, the cocooned butterfly. And as we are spreading our wings, we can merge into the life that we're supposed to be, because our life knows who we are. Okay. Does that make any sense?
Of course. But we need to get back to Alisa, but I just wanted to mention just one little itty bitty teeny weeny thing. And that would be, is it kind of like, after New Year's Eve in September, that creates a lot of September babies? I'm just hopeful that us being sequestered together in our houses so much and working from home and being from home and everybody's together, that it's not going to adversely affect the divorce rate going forward.
I hope not too, because that's where we have to be aware that we all are human, having a human experience, kind of like when my husband or I'm grumpy. I'm going to go to I, because I can only work on I. That when I'm grumpy, I have to say, honey, I'm just a little bit off right now, and I have to go away for a minute to fix myself. So sometimes we have to be willing to say, I need to have a moment.
Speaking of which, there's a female cat that's grumpy most of the time, and she's beating up on her brothers. Alisa, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. So my final question is that the new cat's name is Athena. she's bonded with she's really closely bonded with someone in the house, and so I was wondering if it would be good for maybe them to step away a little bit and everybody else to kind of take the opportunity to bond with her.
Yes. And I would say actually the person who is the leader of the home, the one that's the dominant of the home, the two-legger that's the dominant of the home, should take the lead role in that.
Okay. Sounds good.
Because that's the time because for me, like with my tortie that has passed away now, that my husband, was in the house, my kids were in the house, they would play with her, they would do things with her. But when I had to say the final no, that's when the cat had to, I wouldn't say listen, because cats don't always listen, but they had to understand that I was saying something. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes, especially since our human leader in the house is probably the least attached person to the cat. So
yes, and that creates an imbalance. So with that yes, it's good to have one person who's attached, who that cat can feel safe with. At the same time, it's good to balance out the whole team. Not everybody's going to have the same relationship, but everybody should have a relationship.
Well, thank you so much, Natasha and Kevin. And I think this will really help because it seems like we're always on the fence of like, should we keep her, should we not? And now I feel like we have some solid steps for moving forward and how to get her, more connected to the family and behaving better.
Yeah, I would say try to give it at least a couple of months, like 6 weeks at least, because I have an understanding that things have to go through a phase. And then once we go through that phase, and they usually get worse right before they get better, and then they break through because we've been consistent enough with our boundaries. We've been consistent with our new techniques to know that animal should feel safer, because they have to practice out of who they were to practice into who they're going to become. Does that make sense? And we got to give that time, that transformation time to happen.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. I hope it helps.
And also just remember, because I've been around Martha for so long, communicate with the female cat in pictures.
Yes. Thank you for that.
Not words, but pictures of the behavior that you want her to exhibit. And because she doesn't catch the words, but she does catch the pictures.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would like to add on that actually saying a certain word with that does help. So then it triggers the animal after you've practiced to trigger that picture in their mind.
Oh, okay. Well,
it's kind of a dual thing. It's the pictures are really important. The pictures are very important, but sometimes there's a word that you can say that has that not acceptable. Or acceptable.
And the one last thing that I would just suggest before we let you go is that if all of this doesn't work for you, there's somebody that I know.
Oh, definitely, Martha.
that would be a wonderful person to call. Her name is Martha Norwalk. Maybe you've heard of her.
Of course, yeah. She's on our list of, we're kind of going through the list of who to talk to. So you just perfectly aligned with what to do next. So that's what prompted to call on the show.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. So before you decide to get rid of the cat or move her somewhere else, talk to Martha. She can help.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, everybody.
You're welcome. Have a blessing of a day.
You have a great day as well. Thank you very much. By the way, we're talking to Natasha Venter. She is a psychic medium, and you need to call her right now. We have open phone lines. So our number is 425-373-5527 or toll free 888-298-5569. Why don't we go ahead and take care of our advertisers just a titch early so that we have more time in the balance of the show for you to call And the phone lines are free right now, and they're open too. So now would be a good time. So with that, you're listening to Martha Norwalk's Animal World on KKNW 1158. And welcome back to Martha Norwalk's Animal World. This is the final Sunday of April, which means that Martha's off today. So my name is Kevin McDonald, and this is Positive Talk Sunday on Martha Norwalk's Animal World. And we're taking care of the human animal today. And we've got somebody who's perfectly aligned to do that. Her name is, I forgot. No, her name is Natasha.
Natasha, right?
Natasha, some form of that name, and that's who she is. And her energy is quite amazing, which is why I cannot pronounce her name to save my life. But that's okay. She's doing really, really well. So please, we've got open phone lines if you'd like to give us a call. Again, those numbers are 425-373-5527 or toll free 888-298-5569. Natasha,
yes.
Tell me, what's going on in our world? I know we're going through a change, and is the change, I sense long term that the change is going to be highly beneficial for us, but it's also going to have a measure of pain associated with it. Am I right?
Yes, it is, because of the fact that we have had to learn another part of ourselves. If you want to say, flip the coin over or shut the door and walk out into a new door or a new room, whatever metaphor you want to use for this, apply it, because it's basically an opportunity for us, if we choose, that's a choice, if we choose to flip ourselves into this new that we have an opportunity to be. And it doesn't mean that we have to, when I look in the mirror, I still see Natasha. I still see who I am. But I did a lot of this transformation after my mom passed away, that when I looked in the mirror, I had to understand that Natasha was still here. Blonde, blue-eyed, 5 foot, whatever clothes I was wearing at that time. Here, at the same time, though, I had to understand that there was parts of me that had to be vulnerable. And I'm going to use the word vulnerable because vulnerability is not a weakness. It is a strength. It is a gift for us to be who we are going to be. It's about being vulnerable, being able to say anger. Our emotions are part of that vulnerability, figuring out that our anger is not necessarily a negative. Our anger, when it's worked with and talked with and engaged with in the proper timing, there's the key word, proper timing. Many times we can be angry walking around outside for a minute and not angry with our partner. So there again is taking the time, be angry in the right way and not at somebody else, choosing the intention, letting that vulnerability be, I'm angry. Okay, now I got rid of it. I talked with it. I engaged with it. I'm still a little frustrated walking in the house. Yes, but I'm going to be vulnerable enough to know that I'm frustrated. And then when I talk with my partner saying, you know what, I'm really frustrated. I'm choosing not to be angry with you. I'm really frustrated. And being willing to be vulnerable enough to navigate through some of these moments, we're going to be our better, happier, lighter. We're always going to have shadows. We're always going to have darkness selves. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, but how do you keep, if you get angry? So now a lot of times, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but a lot of times when I get angry, it's because of me. Has nothing to do with the other person.
Yes.
Sometimes it does, but most of the time it has to do with the insecurity that I might have, or that I'm feeling like I want to be left alone or something. I don't know, but a lot of times it has more to do with me than it does anybody else.
Yes, and that's the thing that's kind of interesting is that, the anger that I have, that somebody else has, sometimes it's their own stuff. It's their own trigger. And I'm going to use an example of my personal life. Like yesterday, I played on my phone a lot, playing solitaire, something that's easy, mindless. If something was happening in the house, I would engage. But my husband got triggered and he got frustrated because he felt, I'm going to say these words, he felt, because he used them, that I was not connecting with him. Okay. So I'm going to go back to that moment. I'm not responsible for how he feels, that disconnect. Like I told him, I said, honey, I'm here. If you want to talk, don't I put my phone down? If you want to engage with me, don't I engage with you? And he was like, no, not really, because he was still frustrated. He wasn't seeing it. So he was responsible for his own trigger. He had to work through his own trigger, but yet I was responsible. In other words, I had to be more aware of what was going on around me. I had to put down my phone and be more engaged with just being with the house. So there again, my lessons were mine. I needed to be more engaged in those moments when spirit was really working with me, because my human in the household felt my detachment when I was working on my spirituality. And so with that he got triggered, his responsibility, but mine is mine. So we both had to work on our own frustration and angers.
You mentioned something to me or to the audience earlier, I think it was in the first hour, that after your mom passed away, that you had a significant change in your life, and your husband could see that. Mm-hmm. And he was, fortunately, you're still married, so he must have been okay with it.
We had to work through that. we had to work through that. And it was, I could say, in our almost 30 years of marriage, next March will be 30 years of marriage.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We survived it. I call it a walking miracle, actually. We couldn't be more different. He's 6 foot, I'm 5 foot. He's a Leo, I'm a Cancerian. He's fire, I'm water. We try to make good steam. It doesn't always work. So with that lightness in what life is, but it's one of those things that he had to respect my journey. He had to navigate through that. I had to do my own work. Just like when he becomes sober after being an alcoholic since he was 14, and he was around 46 when he became sober. He's now going on 7 years of sobriety.
Congratulations for me.
Thank you. That's why I'm saying we're walking a miracle here. Me going through my whole family passing away within 7 years, parents and uncles and grandparents and everything. And then him being an alcoholic, it's like we had the mixture for divorce and we walked through it. But part of that was that, and he'll even say this, that my gift of love helped us work through it. He had to learn to love. Otherwise, we wouldn't have survived. But first off, he had to learn to love himself, which was a part of vulnerability. He had to learn to accept his imperfectness so that he can work through it. And I had to learn through my imperfectness to work through it. And then, like I say to him a lot, sweetie, this is your strength, not mine. Like, he's really good at remembering birth dates. I'm not. It's his strength. So I said, sweetie, if you remember a birth date, please use your strength and remind me of my weakness, which is not remembering birth dates, that there's a birthday around. So we all have our strengths and weaknesses. And once we get those vulnerabilities and understandings out, many times we can find a gracefulness between each other.
It's interesting that you mentioned that 7 years ago he got sober. One of the keys, at least I believe, one of the keys may be that when he did that, he really truly had to figure out how to love himself at that moment.
Yes,
because he'd been numb since he was 14.
Yes, his emotions, and I say with love, and I say this with total respect of who he is, that some of his emotions were back at 11 and 12 and 13.
Sure.
And I had to have that understanding that he was going to have to grow up, a part of him. respectfully honoring him. This is not something that I teased him about. When he was having a moment, I understood that, and this is part of my spiritualness, that I get these understandings. Not everybody has them. That, that we had to work through those moments, and I had to give him grace. I had to walk out the door and say, sweetie, this is your moment. I have to go. And let him work through it and not take it out on me. So there was part of this grace is that we had to love. I had to learn to love myself differently. He had to learn his love differently. It was a practice. It was not always perfect. But yet we had that understanding of what is the intention. And it was about helping ourselves do better.
That is, have you written the book yet, by the way?
I am in my dyslexic self trying to stay motivated to do so.
Well, they got programs now where you can just talk into your computer, and then you can have somebody. I know a bunch of people that do editing, so because that's really an important point that you make. By the way, I need to put the phone numbers out because we don't have any callers right now, and we would love to have a caller for Natasha. So if you'd like to give us a call, 425-373-5527 or 888-298. 5569. And now that I did that, I forgot what I was going to say. So, in any event, it's great to have you here, my dear. And
thank you.
If somebody wants to get a hold of you for a private reading, which, by the way, I understand that due to current global situations that you have a little special going on. Would you like to tell us about that?
I do. Right now, my special is there's an hour session for $60 and a half-hour session for $40. I've taken about $20, $30 off my fees. Yes, I feel like that I've done a lot of work to be able to help people through this moment and to navigate through a lot of that we're working through, which I'm going to put it out there. We're working through grief, and grief could be, and tag, I'm it. I've not lost a child, thankfully, but yet I have witnessed loved ones who have. And so I've seen and worked with grief in many different avenues to know that this is a grief moment. We're working on grieving our old self and becoming and understanding that as we're working through this grief, we're turning into somebody new. And we have to say goodbye to our old parts, which triggers grief. And that's not always comfortable. But once we get to that walkable grief, that grief that kind of says, you know what? I've got the tools now. I can navigate a little bit more better what I'm walking through. That we can become the truer selves that the universe is asking us to be.
Now, I have a question for you because earlier in the show, you channeled Mother Earth.
Yes.
And one of the things that has been rattling around in my little brain is that this whole virus thing and everything that's associated with it, it has a domino effect. And one of the domino effects is that nobody's buying any oil anymore because nobody's going anywhere. And the benefits of which we are seeing is the planet is beginning to heal. It's the smog is going away, and we have a pristine moment that we can change everything about that and make our world a better place and a safer place and a cleaner place so that we can continue to live here. Now, would you talk to her? Am I even close to being right on that?
Oh, you are so right. And yes, I will connect with her as I could do on many different levels. But that is the image that, and I'm speaking of me now, that is the image that I got, that as much as we are cocooning, so is Mother Earth. She had to do some upgrades herself. She had to do some shifting herself, as all the planets are doing. If you're an astrologer right now, you're seeing that this planet's going into retrograde, this planet doing this planet's triggering us here, Ceres is triggering this emotion out of us. So we're all getting that. So as we're doing our work, so is lovely Mother Earth. And knowing who she is, she had a choice to either help us cocoon ourselves, or she was going to have to do some major things. Fires, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes. Yes, they're still going on. It's called nature. But yet at the same time, she had a choice to either be the mean mom, the mean mother, and abuse us, or she was able to be the caring, cradling mother and say, you know what? I'm still going to have to teach tough love to those who are not getting our lessons, our experiences. And so I'm going to have to shift it. And it's not a personal thing, just because there was one person that was getting it and others weren't around them doesn't mean that one person was free from that tornado. And she says, I'm sorry for that. And so let me go into her if we have time. I noticed that there's a caller online, so I'm not going to go to Mother Earth right now, but maybe if I can have a few minutes before we leave, that we can finally finish off with her.
Well, what we're going to do first is we're going to take a break just a titch early so that we can talk to Kim in Federal Way. So we're going to continue with Martha Norwalk's Animal World right here on KKNW, 1150 AM. And welcome back to Martha Norwalk's Animal World. This is the last Sunday of the month, which means it's Positive Talk Sunday with Kevin McDonald. That's me. And we have a great guest on the line. We've had her for the entire 3 hours. It's been a lot of fun. Her name is Natasha Venter, and she is calling in from north of Seattle. I'm south of Seattle, and Nathan is right at the studio. So we're having a good time.
On the east side of Seattle.
East side of Seattle, yeah. So it's a beautiful building. I love going there to do the show. I'm in my living room, so this is not nearly as much fun as that. But in any event, we need to talk to Kim in Federal Way, and so let's do that now, and then we've got some stuff to wrap up with. So, Kim, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. I have really enjoyed this show today.
Well, thank you.
Oh, good. Even though I can't pronounce a name to save my life.
That's part of the fun.
Yep, and that's called being human.
Right. Well, I'm calling today because I have worked with Dr. Nels and Martha with my current cat, and we were talking a few weeks back about how she's constantly stopping and seeing stuff all around. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what she's seeing, but we were wondering, I had 4 cats prior to her that they all passed within a year.
Yes, ouch, that hurts.
And it just makes me wonder, is that what she's seeing or what? I don't know.
Well, my dear, I get that she is seeing, yes, your four-leggers do hang around. You also have a couple two-leggers that kind of hang around you too, pop in and out for you. My grandmother, father, is your father passed?
No, not my father. My
okay, then there was a father figure. Mm-hmm. That passed. You said your stepfather,
like
I heard?
A stepfather. Mm-hmm.
Yes. He comes in and checks on you once in a while. But you also work with the fairies, my dear. And so your animals see the fairies. And so that's why if all of a sudden they scurry away or they jump up in the air all of a sudden, or they kind of leer, or, they kind of walk around something.
Yes.
Fairies aren't always nice to cats or dogs.
Okay.
Many times they like to, fairies, fairies, I love them. I work with them. I love them. But they are notorious for being mischievous. Okay. And there's fairies that are lighthearted, and then there's fairies that are darkness. Kind of like my kid had some fairies, the elementals in her room that were helping with the negative emotions that she was working with. And so they were almost like dark vacuum cleaners. So if somebody walked in the room, they would see darkness in the corner when they were just actually dark elementals because they were working with darkness. Does that make sense? But these fairies like to support your cat by riding on the backs of them. Or just teasing them, or just pulling on their tail or whiskers or something like that. And so your cats are kind of leery about that. So they pick up on your two-legged spirit forms and then your other animals. That's why they're sometimes a little bit more easygoing with some and less easygoing with others. Okay. And also people who work with fairies, they might find that their keys aren't always in the same place that they put them down, or that like I had a garage door opener that ended up upstairs in a drawer, that it's like, why would it be upstairs in a drawer? I didn't put it up there, So the fairies just have a little bit of fun, with it. Kind of like when my husband was trying to trim some bushes and all of a sudden something blew in his ear, and I told my husband, I'll trim up on those bushes, because that was the fairy kingdom. But he decided to start pushing into it, and they said no. So they're just a little bit mischievous and fun.
So are you saying that the fairy 1 said to fairy 2, hey, watch this?
Yes.
What is their purpose? I mean, why are they here with me or us?
Okay, so like I was saying, that they have purposes, like that dark bee fairy in my kids' room. They also have a purpose of, like, they'll trip you, make you fall, in order to slow you down, so you can not keep doing what you were doing. Like if you needed time to integrate, so they'll trip you so that you'll integrate. Or like for me, one time I was on a trip and my credit card disappeared. Well, I was spending a little bit more money than I should have. Or in the wrong intention, I should say.
No, that was actually your husband who took your credit card.
No, because I was in Hawaii at the time.
Okay. Well, it's just a shot in the dark. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So with that, it's like fairies have the good, and then they also have the mischievousness, and I can't say exactly what it is unless they're a specific person, in that scenario, that because there's so many of them. If they are the star people of this planet, I believe. And so how can they help us work with our lives in this dimension? And so however they can do that, they'll do that. They'll trip us. They'll take our keys just so that we can be, oh, wait a minute, I need to be better organized with myself and not so frazzled, right? I need to be grounded. Oh, wait a minute. I need to get on the ground. I had to trip and fall to get on the ground to remember to be grounded.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Okay.
Is it would I be able to ask one more question, or I know you guys are probably running out of time, so.
For you, Kim, ask away.
Thank you. So I'm wondering about the 4 cats that died. It's really odd that they just all passed away, like one right after another. And I've really tried to find my, be okay with it and just not question it so much. But
you're human.
Yeah. I mean, I just, I always thought, well, 1 died. Okay, well, at least I have 3. And then it was, okay, and then 2 died. Okay, well, I have 1, and then she died. It was crazy, all in a row.
Yes. Part of, and this is what I'm getting. Remember, you'll talk to maybe somebody else, and you may get another truth, but this is the perspective that I'm hearing, and I'm going to. So with that what I'm getting is that there was a stage in your life that you were ending, right? At that time. And so they were done. I have an understanding that our 2-leggers and our 4-leggers are sometimes in our lives. That's why friends sometimes leave or they come in to help us through a stage in our life. And the 4-leggers are our guides, kind of like how we get spirit guides. Well, there are spirit guides. So sometimes they leave before we start another phase. Kind of like my cat passed away on my job ending in the resource room when I was moving into another phase.
That makes perfect sense to me.
Okay. So, and also I'm going to add in another salt and pepper into this, that they were a team. Okay. Maybe not a clean, everybody got along all the time, but they were a team. Sometimes they got upset at each other because that was just habit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But they were a team at doing that. It was something they learned. It was something that they, all that kind of stuff. So with that they would have had a hard time being left. For one, you're going into a new mode, and it was time for you to get a new four-legger.
Yeah.
Okay, for your new journey.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does that make sense, Kim?
It really does. It was definitely, I was ending one journey and starting another, so it very much makes sense.
Yes. So forgive yourself for trying. Just be with it. Some days you're going to be sad, sweetie. Some days you're going to be accepting of it. I still grieve my cat who passed away back in September. And so with that it's okay to grieve moments. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
And as Martha would tell you, that there's a possibility that if you go get another cat, that it may be one of the cats who passed who's coming back to be with you again.
Yeah, I have a stray that I keep thinking really reminds me of one of my old cats, but I don't want to take him in.
I get it.
Yeah. No, and he is, but he wasn't supposed to be the same journey with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes cats come back as cats, and sometimes they come back as dogs. That's just my understanding. But he's more of a familiar to you, more of a past life cat, more than this lifetime.
Yeah, I feel like we have a connect. It's really odd. He's a stray, and he won't be around anybody else, but he
Yes, because you have a trust of past lives.
Yeah. Fantastic.
So there.
Thank you so much. This has been very enlightening. I appreciate this. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your trust.
Awesome day, young lady. And
you as well. You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. And Nathan, do we have any other callers waiting for us?
Not at the moment, but if you call within the next 1 minute, I sound like a little infomercial right now. We could probably squeeze you in for a quick session with Natasha. So again, our phone number is 425-373-5527 or toll free 1-888-298-5569.
Be quick as a bunny. And we'll get you in real quick. Natasha, I did want to get your information out one more time, but before we do that, I did want to say that there's somebody out there who's listening that's going, she's talking about fairies. She's nuts. What are you drinking? What's in that coffee of yours?
Yes, I speak to many realms. So realms to me are like some people believe in angels, some people believe in fairies, some people believe in star people. There's different realms. There's like different rooms of these different beings. Some people believe in ascendant masters. Ascendant masters to me are like Mother Mary, Jesus, some of the major artists that we have, names are not coming to me, sorry. Aristotle, it could be even a best friend from a past life that could be our ascendant master who's our guide. And
or John Lennon.
What's that?
Or John Lennon.
So, sometimes we can call in these beings to help us. Like for me, sometimes when I'm having problems writing, I'll call in a guide that can help with my writing to get it clearer what I'm supposed to write. And so it's just part of that process of calling in who can help us out and what we can do.
I did want to mention one thing before we're done, because you struck a nerve with me early on about falling and somebody is encouraging you to fall and that kind of stuff. Let me tell you the story real quick of what has happened to me. Oh, wait a minute. Never mind. I guess we'll have to wait. That story will have to wait, because we've got Kathleen from Monroe. She's got her cats. One cat is all but has always been healthy, but she's 6. Anyway, let her talk to you. Hello, how are you, Kathleen?
Well, I'm fine. I can barely hear you guys. Can you hear me okay?
You're good.
Well, wonderful. I am in the middle of a transition as well, and I feel real stuck. And I have 3 cats, and one cat has started to show signs of illness. All my cats, all 3 of them are 16, 17 years old, and they've been very healthy. And now all of a sudden, this is happening, and it's just bewildering me.
Got about 3 minutes, ladies.
Yes. So with that, sweetie, that if you can go back to what I talked to about the previous caller, that some of that applies to you. Doing this quickly, sweetie. So I'm going to shorten it up. That with this knowing that allow yourself to start saying that they're going to have to go, because this part of the stuckness is that you're holding on to what was. And it's like I said before in many of these phone calls, you're going to have to emotionally, physically, and vulnerability start walking through that doorway, knowing that this is a chance for you to start new. Now, whenever we start something new, something has to end.
Right.
And this is for a lot of people. Something has to end. That may be a life, that may mean a job, that may be a house, that might be a part of ourselves spiritually.
That may be a life, that may mean a job, that may be a house.
You need to turn your radio down if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. I really can hardly hear you guys, but I get the point, and I have to agree, and it is going to be hard. There's so many things in my life that are ending.
Yes, and my love goes to you through this moment, sweetie. You know, and I'm going to tell you though, if you need a private session with me, please call, because I have some understandings that can help you out. That, but if you can just say to grief, hold on to it like a friend in front of you, and you hold on to their clothing and you're screaming in their face. Do that with grief, sweetie. Do that with grief, and just say, why in the hell are you here? I know that I need to end. I need to walk through that new door, and I'm scared as hell, and I'm willing to do it though. And just say to grief, thank you for being here to kick me in the butt to get me moving.
Oh, I will.
And that's a short version of the long sentence I want to say to you, because we're down to the last seconds here, sweetie. So
yes.
Well, do call Natasha for a session, and she can go into it in a lot more depth. And if she wants to do that, how does she do that, young lady?
I can do that by either getting a hold of me by my website, which is Natasha Venter, Angelic Clarifications. Remember, 2 C's in the middle and an S at the end, .com, or Natasha at AngelicClarifications.com is my email. You can also get a hold of me on Facebook, because I do inspirational quotes on Facebook, Natasha Venter, Angelic Clarifications, or Instagram, Natasha Venter 96, where I also do inspirational quotes. So you can message me in different places, or you can give me a call or a text at 360-770-7486. And please remember that I do have a special going on right now. So it would be $40 for a half hour and $60 for an hour, so that I can hopefully help people through these emotions. Now, remember, if you are stuck, I can also do just a 15-minute session. And you know, we don't have to do the half hour or the hour. So to just reach out to me, and we can see what fits for you. Okay?
You can figure it out, but it would be, if you have a need, it would be highly good idea to talk to her. She is truly outstanding. And by the way, Martha normally does current events at somewhere during the course of her show, and unfortunately, there are no new current events this week for obvious reasons. And so, if you want to go to marthanorwalk.com and click on current events, you can you can see everything that's out there that hasn't been canceled or is in the future. So I'm hopeful that you will do that. And by the way, Natasha, is there any last thing that you would like to say? I'll give you 30 seconds or so to talk to our audience about whatever your heart's desire.
I'm going to go back to what Mother Earth said at the beginning of this, that we are worthy and we are loved by her on this planet. So it's time for us to let her energy, her green energy, come up through our feet and give us a hug in our hearts and around our shoulders. Because as we walk in this life, we have somebody who is supporting us, even though she has to be a tough mother sometimes and wake us up by an earthquake, fires, or tornadoes, or something like that. It's not personal. It's just the journey of being a human on this life.
And thank you much for tuning in to Martha Norwalk's Animal World. Martha will be back next Sunday, so don't you dare go away. Have a great day, everybody, and take care of each other.
Thank you.
Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other because each other's all we've got. See you next time on My Independence Report.